Okay, so alive, welcome back to the Magic Minds podcast, the Liberty's #1 podcast, the best podcast in Dublin, I can gladly say. We have a cracking show for you today. I got a lad onto the show that I've known probably the last 30 or 40 years. Deguze is his name. He's a street artist. You've probably seen his work around Dublin. It's absolutely fantastic. So got him on the show today. As I say, I've known him a long time. I've known his backstory, so he come on and he talked to us about his childhood trauma, the difficulties, the mental health, time in prison, finding jiu-jitsu, beating addictions to heroin. It was an absolutely cracking interview, and he's such a nice guy, sound as a pound, mad as a brush, typical inner city Liberties boy. I absolutely loved it. It was a really powerful interview. So let us know what you think. Have a listen. Love to hear your feedback about it. Love to hear your feedback about all our shows. Let us know what you think. Give us your ratings on iTunes. Share it with family and friends. Send us your love and kindness. We've had a GoFundMe page. It's just wrapped up at the moment. We raised between online and offline €3,105. How fantastic. That's to our community in the Liberties and our greater community around the world, everyone that listens and supports our podcast. So thanks very much if you donate. Thanks very much if you share the work. Thanks very much if you practice love and kindness and you treat yourself and you mind your little self. As always, thanks to Niall Riley from Rooney Media Graphics, Andy's from Liberties Media Hub, and Shannon's Hope Line, Mental Health Warriors. Who else have I forgotten? Liberty Soup Run, and you for listening to the show. As always, mind your little self. Take care. Bye bye. Okay, so we're live. Welcome back to the Magic Minds podcast. I'm Matt Burke. On the show today, I'm joined by Deguze. Deguze, what's the crack?
Oh, good, brother. How are you?
I'm absolutely fantastic. Guys, I've asked Deguze on the show today because he is a Dublin artist. I've known him since, I'd say, the late 80s, early 90s. We're from the same area. He's from the Liberties. He's had his ups and downs in life, you know. As I say, he's a Dublin street artist, battled with addiction. He's an he's a jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu, yeah.
BJJ, is that the guy?
BJJ player, yeah.
Deadly.
Yeah, that's
so
how we like to say it, the gentle art.
So we're going to get stuck into all that. I want to know his story. I want to know his backstory. As I say, I know him nearly 30 years. I know you nearly 30 years, but there's loads of stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
How are you getting on in life?
There's loads of stuff I don't know. I can't remember a good portion of it, yeah, to be honest with you.
How's life at the moment?
It's very good, actually, yeah. Better than it's ever been. This is this is the best portion of my life, I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through that same feeling. This period in my life is probably the most fruitful. And when I say fruitful, I mean mind, body and soul.
Yeah. I'd given up until like a few years ago when we had like a family tragedy, and I used that tragedy to inspire me to give life another shot, let's say, you know.
Deadly. Right, look, let's take it back. Tell us about life growing up in the Liberties. You know, wherever you want, like what was life for you as a kid, whatever. Let's paint the picture.
Yeah, well, I was around the Yorkshire area as a kid, really. That's where I started off, like hanging around there and like Mercer House, Whiteford Street. And as a young kid, I was definitely like just like outgoing, really like into drama, into like kind of martial arts, all that sort of stuff, you know. And then, let's just say our friends from the church got their hands on me for a little while and would have sent me off the rails, you know. And it's weird because like as a teenager, the trauma was like erased from my mind, but the damage was active, you know. So like I became like very self-destructive, probably like bullied other people, very vicious, you know, like mirroring what was happening to me. I was like bringing it into the real world as well, you know. And it took me a long time to realise that like bad things had happened to me, you know. And like there's a Pandora's box that like I'm kind of still sitting on, and I haven't like fully opened that yet, you know. And like, every now and again it will like come to you in a dream, like a recurring dream, you know, and they're like really nightmarish, and like you kind of like you don't want to believe it's true. So like but like I'm beginning to realise that I'm separate from that kid, you know. Like that kid is like that was so long ago that it doesn't affect who I am now. I've been able to, with the help of some like really friendly plant medicines, been able to kind of alter how I perceive things, you know.
Right.
You know, I no longer feel like I'm a victim.
Right.
Whereas I probably did for a long time, but would never admit that, you know. I would never admit I was a victim.
would you say that you just hadn't got the language to articulate, or you just couldn't process, or what would you say
I
it was?
think my brain just like
I couldn't
buried
identify it. I knew stuff had happened, and
yeah, yeah,
I just knew there was something in the back of me that wasn't right.
yeah, yeah. But it's like I couldn't. I don't think I knew. It's like it became a different part of me, and it was like hidden so deep within me that like it didn't happen. It was like sometimes you would like get these visions of it happening, but it'd be like a blank face, a child with a blank face. So it wasn't you, it was like somebody else. You know, this kind of a way, like kind of weird like that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do have like a set of recurring dreams that I have, like that I've had, so like nightmares you probably call them, you know.
Okay.
But I have them over and over again, you know.
And did you say that the likes of plant-based medicine, did that help you unpackage it, to see it, to have visuals, to come to terms with it, or what you just put some meat on the bones on that one?
So like I was smoking DMT one time up in the mountains, yeah, with a friend of mine, and everything was all like the usual bright colours, all this sort of stuff. And the difference between like DMT and ayahuasca, I'm sure, I haven't done ayahuasca, but it's the same derivative molecule, is that on other hallucinogens, you know you've taken something, and you can't constantly remind yourself, I've taken a hallucinogen, that's all right, don't worry about it, I've taken something, it'll be okay. On DMT, you have all of these like hallucinatory experiences, or these like otherworldly experiences, but you're completely yourself while you're in there. Your conscious is intact, so you're you, more you than you even are here. And I don't know who you're speaking to in there. I have no idea whether it's like every incarnation of you ever, whether it's like
an altered state of consciousness. You go right under the deep, don't you?
Yeah, it's
deeper
like,
and deeper.
Yeah, it's like you speak with the consciousness of the universe, and it has messages for you if you have questions. It has answers if you're looking for it. And basically, DMT told me that like I didn't have to feel ashamed or be worried about the things that happened when I was younger, and like that I was dragging around. This is how it described it to me. It said, "You can take off that big heavy coat now and leave it in here. It's okay." And when I came back from that, I was a changed man completely. Wow. It was like I had left that behind, and I was much freer to speak about things. It was like it was like night and day, really.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal. I heard so. I know you had your difficulties around addiction, heroin, drink. Can you tell us when that point for you was, when that really took off? When did that hit you? As in, was that in the 80s, 90s? Because I knew you. I met you in the Chinaman.
Yeah.
Probably 1990. 30 years ago.
When the rave culture was happening.
Yeah, I remember you used to be in the Chinaman.
Yeah.
So I was only 14 or 14 at the time or so when I met you in the Chinaman. It was a mad shop, wasn't it?
Oh, it was a great pub. That was a great pub, that was. Yeah, that was a good spot.
Like, you mean the downstairs and upstairs, like just where the pool table was.
Yeah, little corners. Yeah, it was a good spot.
You could get anything in there. It was just nuts, wasn't it?
Yeah, there were good people that ran that spot, actually. They were real old school, like.
Yeah.
So, don't get them spots anymore.
No,
they're all gone. What was the spot called? What, Maribon Lane? What did that used to be called?
Oh, it was not the Premier, the Maribel Lane.
Yeah, at the back of the flats there.
Yeah, I don't know the name.
What was the fuck? That was a big mad. That was a madder shop.
There was more. There was loads of them shops around.
They were everywhere. Yeah, they were everywhere. That's what a pub was back then. Yeah, fucking gas, sawdust from the lane flour.
Gas, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Where did the addiction grab you? As in heroin, or really depending on the drugs?
We were all like experimenting. We always we were drinking, taking D5s. The heroin culture had taken over in Dublin in the middle to late 80s anyway. So all the elders, we were the youngers, all the elders, they were all taking heroin anyway. You know, so it was pretty early. Most people kind of started messing around with it, because there was no we didn't know any better. This was wave one, you know. So who knows what's going to happen? And unfortunately for that particular first wave, it coincided with the fucking boom of HIV across the world. You know, a lot of those people, if they weren't on heroin, they would still be alive now. You know.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm not again. I believe all drugs should be legal. I believe that we should have full bodily autonomy. You know, just like in the abortion referendum, I believe the issue that was at stake was bodily autonomy. whether you had power over your own body. It wasn't the right to get rid of a child. It was whether or not you had the right to do what you wanted with your body. And I think that's the same with drug law and everything else, you know. As long as you're not harming somebody else, you should be allowed to do what you want with your own body. You know?
Yeah. I understand. Yeah, it's not everyone would agree with that. You know what I mean? It's
I think 70% of the population probably disagree with it until they think about it, until you can associate it to a cause that they believe in. You know, because if you say, okay, I went out and I voted for yes in the abortion referendum that like we should allow women to have an abortion because I believe she should have the rights over her own body. Well, then you can't really argue with someone that says, well, then I want to put something into my body. So like, what's the difference? You know,
a valid point. Yeah.
Like that's the basics of it is about having the rights of your own body and to do with that what you want to do. There was a time when tattooing was illegal.
Was it?
Yeah, like loads of places didn't want tattoos. There's scoundrels and outlaws tattooed each other. Or you got tattooed for being a prisoner.
Right.
You
Gee,
know?
I never knew that. It's an education for me.
Yeah.
Gee, Mac, that's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when were your darker times? Was it the 90s when you got
My darkest times.
in heavy in addiction?
My darkest times were when I had hepatitis C. Yeah, I was Hep C positive, yeah. And I done a course of interferon, I think it's called, to try and get rid of it. And it failed. I was clear all the way through it. But then after 6 months, I think, they give you another drug test and they check your blood and then it was back again. And like when I went up to get the results for that, it was kind of like implied that I must have done something to make this happen. Yeah, and like that, like it really freaked me out, but like, it put me into a massive depression because they told me like beforehand, oh, in 10 years you're gonna need a liver transplant,
new liver,
all this sort of carry on. Now that's probably more than 10 years ago now. It's probably 7 years ago now. So 7 now. Sometimes they know what they're talking about, and sometimes they don't. I think doctors only know how to treat sick people.
Which?
Sick people. They don't know how to treat the healthy. You know? So it's always like give them the worst case scenario, cover yourself from litigation, you know, this kind of carry on. You know, like there's no money in curing people.
That's the truth, isn't it?
No, there's no money in curing people. So I wouldn't be like have the best of faith in the old pharmaceutical industry.
No, there's a bit of a scam going on. So what made those days dark for you? Or saying they were your darkest days?
Because that's when I gave up, bro.
Did you?
Yeah, in my mind I went, okay, then I just have to like help.
So that was 17 years ago. They were your darkest days.
Yeah, I'd say around then. Yeah, the kids were only young, and then like I had made like your only purpose now is to like try and get these kids to an age, get a group of people around them that can raise them, like build a village around them. Yeah, for when you were gone.
Why were you planning on going?
Well, I'd been told I was going to die, and I believed that. I co-opted the story, or like I took it. I was like so depressed that like I believed what they were saying to me, you know.
Yeah.
And I basically gave up. I was running the towel, to be honest with you, you know.
See, that's what I'm picking up on. I thought you were saying when you given up that you wouldn't be around. Did you ever think of taking your own life, or were you?
I've never I think one time seriously, only one time, and that was one of the Christmases that like when I was on that interferon. The Christmas I was on that interferon. And that was the first time, like the only time that I ever like would have said that like I seriously contemplated, like made a like pros and cons list of what would be good and what would be bad outcome, you know. And like the thoughts of my kids having to not have me there and to leave them there, that was like that overrid no matter what was on the other side of the page.
Brilliant.
You know.
Yeah, no, look, I swear I flirted with the idea as well. I was going across to England on a boat and my mind was absolutely mess and I wanted to jump off, but I'd say it was down here in comparison to really going to do it. I just wanted the pain to stop, you know. I did contemplate and there's times you go, oh, I just want this pain to go, but
thought is not action.
Yeah, and my kids, my family, my friends, they all popped into my mind, but the thoughts did pop into my mind.
Look, I'll be brutally honest, like you're walking down the road sometimes and you'll see something weird, like let's say a woman coming out of the shop or whatever, and you'll see, I wonder what happened if I just pushed her in front of that bus. But like I don't run over and push her in front of the bus. It's just like I don't have control of my thoughts all the time. Not everyone does, you know.
That's a great
and
point.
a lot of people won't admit to having that dark thought. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's just your brain twiddling over stuff, you know, like maybe keeping it in check. It's like, well, don't throw that person under the bus because that's wrong. And I'm just making sure you know it's wrong. You know?
When Carl Jung talks about, you know, all this, the greats and the pillars of psychology talk about the dark side, you know, your ego and, you know, the dark and the light side, but people don't even want to go there into the dark. And I remind people, when people see that I do the podcast and I talk about love and kindness, they think that's all I am. And I have to remind people, when you're holding the white dove, you're also holding a black dog.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
You
Like,
can't have one without the other.
no, they're just part of the psyche,
That's
you know.
one of the reasons I don't want to go to heaven. I don't want to be in this boring, every day, the same thing. Can you imagine how terrifying that would be? It's like, oh, that's anathema to me, bro. I couldn't put up with that.
I don't think you're getting in.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think
yeah,
you're getting in.
Yeah,
They just say, nah, fuck that, go back to the Chinaman.
I just believe you get downloaded to like a universal consciousness simulation type kind of.
I just think you just go back into the universe and you just come back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, part of you, I don't believe you can ever come back as you.
No.
I believe there's like a tiny little piece of your code just gets like programmed, and everything you know then gets shared with everyone, and then everyone else knows, and then you come back. But,
back into the collective unconscious.
But
I love it.
They make it blank. You're there to collect information and bring it back there. You're not here to bring information from there over to here.
Love it. I've never heard that before. I'll go with
It's
that.
got to kind of be something like that, because there is no. You're a clean slate every time. You know.
Deadly.
You're a clean slate, unless you like take some certain medicines that might help you break through to things sometimes.
How often or how much did you try to get off the heroin, or how hard was that for you over the years to break the addiction? You know, I know people that fall, get back on, fall, get back on.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
I think there's certain key things you have to have before it's actually possible.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, you have to have hit rock bottom. Yeah. Because if you don't hit rock bottom, then you don't want to get back up, or you don't want to stay there. You know, one or the other. And people hit rock bottom, and some of them don't want to get back up. They're quite happy to stay there. You have to have a support network, and you have to have belief, everyday belief. They're the three things. You have those three things, you're laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, laughing. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, family, connection, rock bottom.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be family, you know. Yeah, like, family's a weird one, you know. Family just is a bunch of people that like you squeeze into life with, you know. And like, if you look at like humanity as it is, some family members don't owe any loyalty to any other family members and don't show any loyalty to them, you know. And then there are people that like you've met 5 years ago, and it's like, I love this person more than everybody in my family. I know I'm going to leave all yous and I'm going to move in with this motherfucker and make a new family. You know, like, family is like, these are all just little abstract concepts we like to make seem that the world is.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, the puzzle we can sort out.
I know you were talking earlier about making drugs illegal. What, like, for people, you know, heroin.
Not legal, making them legal.
Making them legal. Sorry.
Yeah.
What do people need? You know, like, there's a lot of crack on the streets now. There's a lot of drug on the streets. You know, cocaine, coke is huge at the moment.
Yeah.
Weed, all sorts of. What do people need? What do drug addicts need? What will help? What will support? Looking back.
Like, I don't have the answers for that. I just believe that, like, if you want to buy something that's like a natural product, yeah, like that we have receptors for in our body, that like nature has like decided that like, okay, sometime in the past we've had contact with this and it's been a medicine for us because it doesn't harm us. So like, there's a positive advantage to the use of these things. You just have to manage it right. You know, that's what I truly believe. You know, so like, consistent quality of drugs, clean access, somewhere you can take it, not to be like looked down upon because like you're doing something that is no different than someone who's smoking cigarettes or drinking flat whites every day. You know, they're addictive substances and we're addicted to them.
Addiction is addiction. Yeah,
it's like when the cokehead looks down on the bloke on heroin. You know, it's like no one wants to be on the bottom of the ladder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one wants to be like, so it's like, well, man, my drug is better than your drug. But in reality, they're like, all the
it's
same.
like white collar crime.
Yeah.
Like, crime is crime.
Crime is crime, yeah, exactly.
You know, bad is bad, good is good, you know, there's no tier of it.
But
like,
that's the thing about, like, bad is
now.
bad and good is good, because, like, we've been told for a long time that drugs are bad, when they aren't bad. Drugs are just drugs, they're just, like, things that are out there. And then the system we've built around it, the war on drugs is bad. That's bad.
That's a great show.
You know, that's not a good thing. How is that a good thing? Because the people who are running the war on drugs are also shipping tons of these drugs around the place so that they can fund their black book operations to take over countries in South America, the Middle East, etc., etc. You know?
There's always a bigger picture.
Yeah, you know?
I think it's a great point that you make there, like the heroin addict and then someone doing coke and how they look down on that.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy,
It's
isn't
hilarious.
it? Like, I mean, and again,
hilarious.
it's the same with classes, like middle class, working class. Like, people in middle class areas or well-to-do areas.
Why do you think the
are
middle class
doing-
was made, Matthew? Like, when did the middle class come into being? When was there a middle class? The middle class is the newest class. There used to be like the upper class and the lower class.
Okay.
And then they decided, we can make a lot of money if we make some factories over here. But we need some people to run those factories. But like, that's beneath me because I'm an upper class. So now we need to educate somebody who's like stick throw and rock throwers over there in the field, yeah? And then we will elevate them to another class and they will be the buffer class. Because they will not want to go back to being the rock throwers in the field. And they will be our armour against the other cunts when they try to rise up and they realise like we're fucking taking everything away from them by making them work in this factory. And now no one knows how to plant crops anymore, how to milk cows. There's no one to feed myself now. I'm stuck.
I didn't know that.
That's middle class, bro. That's what they're there for, bro.
That's unbelievable.
The middle class are us, bro. Like us and the middle class are the same people. You know, they have slightly better jobs than us, and they work harder than a lot of people because they put themselves into those like, I've got to work 100 hours a week so I can pay for my 2 Range Rovers and my house that I can't afford. So they are like never see their kids, have terrible relationships. The wives are probably all fucking the pill, man. You know, like who the fuck wants that? You know, I would rather be on the bottom of the ladder. Thank you. You know, because at least on the bottom of the ladder, I can knock into like 70% of my neighbours when I don't have like milk and sugar, and I can get that milk and sugar.
Yeah,
You know, but if I'm up there in the like middle classes where like I have to walk out and get my paper in the morning, and I look to my neighbour and I say, I got this house by fucking over everyone I know. I wonder how he got his house. Probably the same way. Okay, don't even say hello to him. Go back into your house. You know what I mean?
Come here, can I touch on something you touched on earlier? And I want to know your inspirations as a kid. You were saying you were doing drama, martial arts.
I wasn't doing those things.
But
These
you'd
are things I
interest them.
wanted to do.
Yeah.
These were things I was
That's
definitely
even
into.
better.
I was
too.
drama, and I was definitely doing drama, and I was doing dancing. I definitely did those sort of things when I was younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a creative side.
Yeah.
You had a passion.
Yeah.
And that went away.
Yeah, it definitely went away. Yeah. It was all pushed to the back. Yeah.
Was that obviously that's to do with the abuse or the drink, the drugs, the whole life?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like I made a conscious decision as a child to choose destruction. That's the only way I can come
But did you though? Did you make a conscious decision? That's I'm having this conversation with a friend of mine.
I think I like when I think of it now, I think I like when you're told you're bad all the time, you're bold, you adopt it then. Do you get me?
You believe what you're told. You believe what you tell yourself as well.
Yeah, but like it's like if everyone is telling you that, like, you know, even like sometimes the people you love, you know, like, and they don't realise, like, they're just scolding you for being bold or whatever, you know what I mean? But they don't realise that they're reinforcing something really negative that's happening somewhere else.
Yeah, no, because I remember people when I was younger telling me I was useless, I'd grow up to be nothing, blah blah blah, and I believed that, you know, and it's in there, it's still there. That scar.
Like growing up to be an artist, in like our background, it's like, what are you talking about?
Oh,
do you get me?
Yeah.
Get out there and get yourself a trade, you fucking aged, You're not going to make no money out of that sort of carry on, you know?
Yeah.
If you look, if you got bought a blade box of crayons.
Like even you saying dancing, like I've done dancing years ago, and I remember people saying, oh, you're bleeding queer doing your dancing the Deguze Lane. I danced with Mark Sheen from The Script.
Yeah.
You know, and even him, I remember he's in a band, he's all these fucking and those exact language was said to me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and he, like creative. So I was left-handed, so I was beaten to use my right hand or whatever I think it was. Yeah. And so I didn't think I was creative. So creativity was never on my to do.
That happened to me as well. I used to be I was ambidextrous as a kid.
You left-handed?
No, I could write with both hands. Yeah. So like I used to write with both hands. Yeah. And like Leonardo da Vinci was my hero. He's always been my hero throughout life. Yeah. But like I used to love the fact that I could do mirror writing and all. But like that was better on me in school. That was the devil's hand, and you went to use it.
Yeah, so I had associated.
They'd make you put out that hand to be hit with.
What school did you go to? You were in White. Oh yeah, I was in Franner as well.
Yeah.
Did you have brother Murphy and them others?
Yeah, me and a friend of mine gave him a few digs.
All right, Jesus.
Yeah, because he used to beat us up all the time.
Yeah,
and one day we had enough of it. Yeah, and he called us outside, and he used to have this key that he'd dig you in the stomach.
Oh, I remember, and he used to wear that long black cloak.
Yeah, he dig you with this thing right into the solar plexus, bang, and he hit me and I fell down. Yeah. And I fell down right behind him, and then You know that thing you do as a kid where you push the person over?
Yeah.
My mate friends just pushed them over and the two of us just legged it, went on the hop, and then I just started going to the mix every day to school then. Every day.
Oh, it's nuts, isn't it? So like creativity wasn't like you just weren't creative. Like I thought writing was creative, and then obviously I was shit at writing because I left-handed. So it was creativity was right out of it.
Yeah.
And then dancing, I just thought dancing was dancing. Then I was told
the education system wants to educate creativity out of you.
Yeah.
You know, because creativity is dangerous. Then you start thinking about things like revolution and stuff.
You
know what I mean?
Can't have you doing that.
You can't have you doing that stuff, yeah.
What life lessons were your greatest teacher in life, would you say?
It's a hard one to actually answer.
Was it your youth? What lessons were your greatest teacher?
Causing pain to other people and seeing the aftermath of that pain.
Give us more on that. What do you mean by that?
Just like some of the chaos you caused throughout like youth, even like as a young man, you know, like let's say doing certain types of robberies or doing certain things, you know, you've got to like take ownership of that situation. So like you convince yourself it's your own money before you even go into the place, you know, so you're just going to take your own money back off someone. So if you think about it that way, when you're going to take something that's yours back from someone, sometimes you'll use excessive force, or you will give the illusion that you're willing to use excessive force. And for the person that you're terrifying, that don't make no difference. You know, they're still terrified, they don't know, they believe it. You know, that sort of carry on. I think that's probably been my best life lesson. You know, that you've got to do everything you can to protect what you love.
Yeah.
You know?
We were talking earlier, and it was interesting. We asked you off camera where did Deguze come from, and I didn't know you as Deguze.
Yeah.
I knew you as Grousey, Mark Grouse, you know.
Yeah.
And then you told me that died.
Yeah, Grousey's dead. Like that guy. Like.
And I thought
Grousey's the guy who gave up on life. Yeah, and Goose is the guy that was formed from the killing of that guy. You know, the process of coming off methadone, the process of healing my body and building some sort of structure that like I could maybe like last another 20 years with, you know.
And did you in your mind's eye did you actually just say he's dead to me now? Was there a road to Damascus? Was there a turning point or?
I'd say about like I always use that kind of name, like it's a nickname among certain people that I have, but getting rid of the other guy was like just so negative that like I didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. I realised one time that I was totally different. The time I realised was when I was at a Bellator in the 3 Arena, and I seen this guy walking through, and he had like a big hairy chest and a big huge silver medallion on him, and he had like long hair, and he had like these like 2 like nice looking chicks kind of with him, like not fucking top 10s, but like nice looking chicks for the guy that he was, and he's strutting through this place like the king of the fucking world, yeah. Grousey would have went, look at that dickhead over there, stay to him, he should go back to the 70s. Goose turned around and said, look at this motherfucker, owning it. He owned it, and I had love for him instead of hatred, bro. And that's when I knew, I says like, bro, you are a completely different person. Like it was an act, a conscious act. I knew it. It was like, this is different. This feeling is not the same. This guy is not the same. You know. Yeah. I'd say that's the moment I realised.
Yeah, and we talked about this earlier. I was the same. Like people might have taught me, yeah, I was funny, you know, I had a bit of crack and all that, but I was toxic in my mind. I had negative thoughts about people. You know, same with you. I'd smile and all, like he's fucking dope, and I don't believe a word out of his fucking head. Blah blah.
Do you know why? Do you know why I believe that in me? Because I didn't love myself.
100%.
That's
for me
that's
anyway.
What it is. I
didn't love myself.
Now I know the universe loves my ass, because I wouldn't still be here what I was. Like, the universe had plenty of opportunities to off me. You know? Do you get me?
Yeah.
But it put me through like a railroad sort of life, you know? And ups and downs. Both sides of the fence kind of life, you know? Like having pain inflicted, inflicting pain. It's like, here you go, motherfucker. See life from both sides, you know? And maybe you can like see a middle ground. You know?
Yeah.
I'm really down for the youth. I believe in like supporting the youth as much as possible.
100%.
You know? That's all I'm really down for pushing. You know? The youngsters are like, they're gonna have everything.
Deadly. What was the final straw with the heroin, with methadone? Where was that point of like, that's it, game over?
Heroin was easier than methadone, bro.
Was it?
Yeah, like heroin, methadone seemed like it was just going to be a stopover point. You know, it was like, okay, I want to get off this now, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sick of being like on opioids, let's just call them opioids.
Yeah.
I'm sick of being on them. So I want to get off this. And like, I'm still kind of fairly youngish. And the kid's man is only young or whatever, like whatever's happening there. And but then I need to get off this shit, yeah. I need to like get myself together. I was like, I'm going to lose this person if I don't.
Right.
So I decided to go and get myself clean. And this person sticks by me at the time. And then you're on it for longer than, or as long as you were on heroin.
Because there's programs, isn't it? Detroit,
Stabilisation.
is that what you call it?
Maintenance.
They put you on it. If you were on it for so long, or you're on heroin for a certain amount of time, they put you on this for a certain amount of time.
Yes, like how does that make any fucking sense?
I know nothing
All
about
I
that.
did was I changed my drug dealer from, so like I took the cash out of the local economy, yeah, and I put it into big pharma.
Okay.
That's all I did.
Yeah.
I changed my drug dealer and I took money out of the economy, the local economy.
So how did you get off it? What was the turning point on that?
The turning point was this, like, there was a tragedy in the family, and I told a certain person that I would try and get my shit together for them, because anytime I tried to do it for myself I didn't have the strength, and then I used that person as a touchstone to just keep on pushing.
Right.
And then I did that. Like, I didn't even tell, like, luckily I had a pharmacist who was like a nice guy, and he like, I didn't want to tell the doctor. I'd asked them before to cut me, and they were like, oh, you can't do this, can't do that, it's too dangerous, blah blah blah.
I done that myself. I done that with antidepressants. I done myself.
Yeah.
Well, assistance from assistance.
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise anyone to do that. I know a little bit about
I would advise
pharmacology.
everyone to do it. I would advise everyone to do it. Cut down. You don't need the amount of drugs they're telling you need. If it's for like your head or for being on drugs like methadone, you don't need all that shit, bro. You don't need it. You don't need it as much as they're giving you to open you up, making you a bleeding zombie.
So you just then slowly come off it.
No, I didn't slowly come off it. I cut drastically. What they say was be dangerous.
Right.
Yeah, and like I was very fragile, like 41 kilos at one time. I was maybe 43 when I decided to do this. I'm like 60 kilos now.
Wow.
And I was never getting to 60 kilos on methadone.
Jesus.
Ever. All my teeth fell out all the fucking stuff, for fuck's sake, you know. Methanone's not good. It has a little place, like, you know. It's got a little place, like, as a stopover, maybe. But people shouldn't be on methadone for like 20 years, 30 years.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's mental. Why don't you just give them opium? Why don't you just buy like good opium off the Afghans and give them fucking opium instead of some chemical made shit, you know? Doesn't make sense.
Where did the street art come in? When did that take hold? Because that's when I heard about you.
The same time as jiu-jitsu, bro. I'm only doing this. I got off my couch 3 years ago.
3 years, right? So
About 3
I
years
remember
ago.
someone talking about you. Goes, you know, this bloke is doing street art, blah blah, the Goose and all. I was like, I don't know no bloke called the Goose, because I obviously knew he as Grousey. No. Then I seen you one day, maybe 2 years ago. You were on Richmond Street painting, and I went, that's him, and it all just came together. I was like, oh, I know him. That's Mark Grouse. He's the Gooch. And I went over to you because I had seen your work.
Yeah.
I was like, that's unreal, fascinating. So 3 years now. That's
3 years. That's up and running. Yeah. So that's when I started to like kind of like.
how did that get going? Where did, like, we talked about creativity being, you know, something you want to do as a kid. When did you decide what, like, actually I can draw, I can paint? Where, when?
I always kind of messed around with art. Like, as a kid, I loved to draw.
Right.
Yeah, but then like it's not encouraged in our kind of like our branch of society, let's say. Yeah, and no, not as much as it should be. And then I like had my hardships. Went off the rails for a bit. I didn't even really draw in prison. Do you know what I mean? That's how like detached. Like I was a self-sabotager. Yeah, very afraid to succeed in anything, you know.
Yeah,
Because then the world will find out that you're a fraud.
What did he call it? Imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Well, look at. I think everyone suffers from imposter syndrome. If you really, because
in
we are
some
all
realms,
imposters.
in some realms.
Yeah, you know, we're definitely all imposters because like no one gives you a playbook. You know,
exactly.
they're just making the shit up as you go along. You know,
Yeah.
quite a lot of times. So it's like, what the fuck?
Professional
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
So you were still doodling away, doing a bit of drawing. So
Yeah.
when did the spray cans come out? What's the crack with that? How did that kick off?
The spray painting world has a lot of secrecy to it, yeah, because it's illegal.
Right.
In a lot of cases, yeah. And well, actually, I would say in the vast, unless you're painting on canvases in your gaff, spray painting on any wall in Ireland under certain regulations will be deemed illegal anyway. Yeah. So you would have to get a planning permission in certain cases, all this sort of carry on. So, and then like people like to paint on trains, people like to paint on walls. Like there's like a whole culture, there's a subculture called graffiti. Yeah, and a lot of good graffiti artists. I just happened to meet some of these guys and expressed an interest in it, and some of them taught me some of their tricks. You know.
And that's where it kicked off.
Yeah, that's where it kicked off. Yeah.
Did you just buy some cans and just practice? Because like I mean, I'm looking at your work now, and it's fantastic. You're not look like somebody that's just had to doing it 3 years. It's like you've been doing it a long time, like all your life. It's phenomenal.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I just think that I tune into something, maybe.
Right.
Sometimes it makes absolute diatribe pieces of crap, you know what I mean?
As we
It's
said,
just like
we talked about this the other
failure
day.
is like failure is you're gonna fail more than you're gonna succeed, you know? So like if you give out yourself when you fail, you better give yourself a clap on the back when you succeed.
Oh, 100, that's a great show.
You have to do that, bro,
Love it,
you know?
love it.
You have to do that. Definitely.
So the graffiti or the street art kicked off 3 years ago. How about the jiu-jitsu?
I actually
How
started.
did that come about? I know you were up with Paddy.
Yeah.
Paddy Houlihan.
That's exactly how it started, bro. Like I've always like my kids do jiu-jitsu.
Gardy. I know Gardy. Gardy is phenomenal.
Gary and Darren, the two of them, bro,
Does
very good
Does
jiu-jitsu
Darren do
players.
it as well?
Yeah.
Is he on social media? I've seen
He's
Gardy.
kind of more quiet. That's
I've
it.
seen
Yeah.
Gardy stuff,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
deadly. I've seen him fighting this big guy one time.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were in the same belt, but your man was big and I don't know.
Ridiculous. Yeah, it's funny.
I don't know if your man bet. I think he
that's
bet him
called,
actually.
that's called the absolute division. We call that the absolute division.
Is it,
That's-
yeah?
Yeah, when you win your division, everyone who wins their division gets to fight in a pool. So like all the winners of the weight categories fight each other.
Right, I see him against that lad. Huge, pretty.
Hilarious.
He done his best. It's deadly.
Yeah, he judo tournament at the very start of it, so not bad, you know.
Yeah.
That guy's a very good fighter. I think he's like YMF world champion and all that. Once man, I think you're talking about big huge fella.
I can't remember. I just seen him one day going, "This is mad." It actually looked like Conor McGregor fighting against your man in straight.
Oh yeah.
Bjork, your man Game of Thrones.
The mountain fella.
Yeah. See, it actually looked a bit like that.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, funny.
So you started off, they're all up there. You just started going to the club,
I used to
watching
just
them.
bring them up and like I'd bring them up and every day they went up there, every single day they were doing that because this was like part of my plan to build a family around them. So like when all this was happening at the very start, when I'm bringing them up there, like I'm tapped out in life for myself. So like everything is just towards these two motherfuckers, you know. Yeah. So I'd sit up there and I integrated myself with like the people in SVG. They're all the people, you know what I mean? They look after people.
Right.
They treat me very, very well, you know. Because like, I can only imagine like the state of me walking in there, you know, like amongst all these like really healthy looking motherfuckers, and like I look in bits. It's plain like that went from the other side of the tracks, you know. And I never got judged once. I was accepted with open arms, treated very, very well, you know.
Yeah.
And then formed lifelong relationships from it, you know.
And did you just decide one day I'm gonna give this jiu-jitsu a go?
Well, I had certain things like I had hepatitis C, so like I would never do that. I wouldn't, like, because it's a full contact sport, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've got like a pretty fucked up liver, so like I'm fearful. What if this happens? What if that happens? You know.
Yeah.
So like, I wouldn't say like that. Like, I would be the restaurant probably for most guys, like when we're doing jiu-jitsu, you know.
Yeah.
Because like I'm an old fucked up cunt, you know.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's a way of like staying mobile.
Yeah.
You know, being healthy, you know.
Deadly.
Yeah.
Tell us about jiu-jitsu. What's the magic of it? Like, you know, Kev, they used to work with me on the show. He used to do the editing for me, and all. We worked together. He did it and does it for years. He used to be a kickboxer.
Yeah.
And he does it with the jiu-jitsu down here. And he raved about it. He's always used to say to me, it's a thinking man's sport.
Yeah.
Tell us the magic of it.
it helped me to trust in humanity.
What do you mean with that?
So it's grappling, yeah, a form of like, you know, in the UFC when they go to the ground. So it's like a form of wrestling and submission. So like you're trying to break limbs or choke someone unconscious. And if I get a certain move on you and you tap, yeah, you have to trust that I'm going to let you go when we're training. Do you get me? And then I have to trust that you're going to tap so that I don't have to break your arm. Do you get me? So there's this connection, and it's like most people like nowadays. There's very little of this in humanity anymore. You know, you see in the Arab world, you see in many parts of the world, men are walking down the street and they're holding hands and they're looking at each other's eyes and they're like really close connection. A lot of folks, even the French, there's not much of that in Irish culture. You know, so this is a thing where like you're really intimate with somebody. You know, intimate, touching all the time, into like positions that are like almost pseudo-sexual. You know, like someone's in between your legs, you're on their back. You know. And it's constant connection, back and forth, constant trust, and you're both learning off each other. You know, as you go along, it's a dance. You know, and you can't think like if someone is trying to strangle you to death, yeah, you can't think of anything else but trying to defend yourself. So whatever's going on outside of the gym, that stays there.
Oh, deadly!
It stays there. You know, for that.
That is the art of mindfulness and awareness and presence, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like you don't even know you're meditating, but you're meditating completely because like your focus is like Zen, you know. Because I'm trying to like, especially at the start, it's hard. Jiu-jitsu is hard, you know. Jiu-jitsu is for everyone, but it isn't for everyone.
Give me that again.
You know, it's like anybody can do jiu-jitsu.
But not everyone.
But not everyone can stay with it, you know, because it's a humbling experience. It's very humbling for a 95 kilo man who's been doing weightlifting his whole life to walk into a gym and have, let's say, a 62 kilo woman put him asleep.
It's happened
to
me.
Yeah.
I went to my little brother's gym up in Inchicore. He was training, he was doing MMA, blah blah. I was big, doing juice, blah blah, fancy myself because I've done a bit of kickboxing.
Yeah.
And we done a bit of a spar, got around, and he absolutely humbled me.
Yeah.
He armbarred me, he sat in my face, his balls were in my face, my little brother.
Yeah.
You know, I used to give him the slaps on as a kid.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, that actually, now you stupid fucker.
Yeah.
I was like, you deserve that. Because I thought I'd go in and give him a few digs.
Yeah, put him in his place.
Yeah. Oh, he absolutely schooled me, humbled me.
Yeah.
It was. I actually look back now and I really, I was proud of him and I was impressed.
Yeah. I had that moment with my son, but it was completely different. He was about 14 and we were playing Grand Theft Auto or some shit. We were playing a game together. And he paused the game and he looked at me and he went, Dad. And I went, what? He goes, you know I'd kill you now, don't you? And I just went around and looked at him and I went, for a minute I looked at him, I assessed the situation and I went, that's right son, yes. And then we just carried on playing and that was it, you know. What else are you going to say? No, let's have a scrap. Not a chance, he'd have bashed me, you know. So we'd avoid all of that and we'd just say, yes, this is true.
Oh,
you know?
and he, like, gee, that's like your ego would be boiling inside you, like, because this younger person, always your son.
Yeah.
That's gas.
Yeah, it was just so casual, like, you know, like if it had been in a different moment, you would have been like all rolled up. But like we were there, we were in this like moment of love and peace and sharing together. So it was like, here's a piece of information for you. How'd you like them apples? You know.
I'm like, just gonna throw this out.
Yeah. And he was right. He was completely right.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah. I've never once beaten him in like 30 seconds of jiu-jitsu.
Have you not?
No, not once. He's an animal.
He's phenomenal.
He's very good, very technical at his craft. Yeah.
Maybe I need to give jiu-jitsu a go. Maybe I should try it out.
Well, hopefully the opportunity will come to soon because
they're opening back up soon.
Hopefully we're opening a new place locally. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Let's not open any boxes yet, but
yeah,
plans are afoot.
You've been embraced into that family, haven't you? The jiu-jitsu or the SPG family. Is it SPG family?
Well, the jiu-jitsu family, but definitely the SPG family. But like the whole, I'll train anywhere. You know, like there's this saying from Brazil, like people who train with the gyms, they call them creonte, traitor. Yeah, and I am a creonte. I will train anywhere with anybody at any time. You know, because
you'll have a little roll around.
I will have a roll around with any gym. I'll go to any gym. I have like, why wouldn't I? You know, you can learn from anybody. I believe 100%. You can learn from absolutely anybody. You know, definitely.
Who have been your inspirations in life? Who inspires you and why?
My biggest inspirations are my 2 kids, and their ma's pretty inspirational, and my own mother. My own mother's inspirational.
I remember your man.
Yeah, my own mother's pretty inspirational. She's a gas out.
Why?
You know?
Tell me what is it about her?
Strength of character, an unwillingness to move from what she believed was the truth. So, you know, like where we grow up, yeah, there's always stuff falling off the back of lorries, yeah. My mother would never.
For anyone to listen, that's called stroked.
My mother would not buy anything that fell off the back of a lorry when we were young. Never. All my friends ran around with Levi's on, with Nike runners, the whole shebang.
My mum was the same.
Some of them were shoplifters. I had direct links. I could get first dibs at these for less than they were going for in the streets. Not a chance.
Yeah, my mum was the same. I couldn't get my head around it.
Still don't get my head around it. I still don't understand it. I respect her for sticking to her principles, but I don't get it. I don't get it, but I respect her for like saying, this is my line in the sand, and this line I will not cross.
Did your ma used to say that one? Don't bring rob things into my house.
Yeah,
My ma
but
used to
also
say
I
all
used
the
to
time.
try and hide some few quints in her wallet every now and again. I probably took more out of my ma's wallet than put into it, but like, you get me? But I did try to put something into it every now and again, you know? Truth be told, you know? Because she wouldn't accept it. You know, she wouldn't accept it. Would not accept it. Fair play to her.
Yeah, so that strength of character, the resilience, sticking to our principles. Can you see any of that in yourself?
I don't know. I find it hard to judge myself in that kind of fashion out there. I'm still learning. Like when I look in the mirror now, I'm only beginning to say that I'm 60 kilos. Do you get me? So like the shadow of the past is still kind of it's like that old person's dead, but believing fully in this person hasn't kind of come yet. You know, it'd be like if you change the colour of your eyes to brown tomorrow, you'd probably look in the mirror for the next 10 years and still see blue eyes. You know.
That's a deadly point, man. That is deadly,
You know?
deadly. I love that because I'm similar. Like, you know, I only wrote a poem there the other day called Reflections.
Yeah.
Glad that you were saying that. I wrote a poem called Reflections, and the piece was on, right? It's to do with compassion. Like, we look at kids, we look at family, we look at like little fragile things and we mind them, but we don't do it to ourselves. You know, we talk about love and kindness, but we look outside. We don't recognise that soul that's looking back in the mirror.
Yeah.
Like that kid that's still
Yeah,
there. Like
yeah,
you said,
yeah,
that
yeah.
shadow.
Yeah.
Like, it's still not there. And it's
Yeah.
interesting you say that because there's times when I look at myself, man, you look Gucci. And then there's another day I go, oh, I'm not so sure.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
slowly turning. It's
Yeah.
slowly turning, like a
Yeah,
ship in the dock,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
That's a fascinating point.
Yeah, you just have to have your, I think, little key kind of like mantras of like, just like stick on the road, you know, stay positive, just give yourself a little bit of credit.
Do you stand up on the stool now, metaphorically, and look at your life and go, man, fair play to you, fair fucking play to you for surviving this, and this. Look what I've achieved, blah, blah, blah. Do you know?
I don't think that's for when I'm on my deathbed. That's when that moment is for. You shouldn't be doing that in the middle of your life, bro. You shouldn't be like taking assessment of what's going on. You're in the middle of a big fucking current flying along, you know? The minute you start taking that book out and looking, the big log's gonna come and smash it to pieces.
I don't agree with you.
You know?
I look at my life and go, look how far you've come, man. This is deadly. I reckon I'm halfway through my life and I have more to do, but I do take stock and go, fair fucking
I'm
play to you.
focusing on the more to do.
Are you?
It's never enough. It's never enough. I have a friend who runs a gym, yeah, in Portugal, yeah, Shinobi Academy, and I love this man, and this is the reason I love him, yeah.
Who's he?
Colin Bourne, but he's a genius because this is what he'll say to you, like no matter like people say to me, oh you've achieved so much, you've achieved this, that, and the other. Colin would say, well what are you going to do tomorrow? Because that's done now. So what are you like standing on your laurels for? You've done nothing. You know, tomorrow you've done nothing. You did all that already. You know? So like do more. Do more. Because you've only got a small window and I've shrunk my window. I'm like the ultimate procrastinator of life. And now like the exam is coming up. You better start cramming, motherfucker. You better start cramming.
I love it.
You know?
I heard from the interview you done with Paddy that you were, I don't know if you still know, you said something about your eyesight. You were an avid book reader, or you are an avid book reader, you love books and reading.
I was a better book reader than I am now, I'll be 100% honest, yeah.
What books have been your influence? What were you reading? What do you like? What
I
inspires you?
love like high fantasy, Lord of the Rings, all that sort of stuff. I love that escapism of that. That's probably from being in prison. Then I like books like 1984, Brave New World, things where like people from the past have predicted how the world's going to be now, and it's so accurate, you know.
Right.
Like terminologies like Big Brother and all that, they
Right.
come from these books, you know.
Right, interesting.
Yeah. I would like, if you were going to read any two books to find out where the world is and where we're headed to, I would say Brave New World and 1984 are the two books to read.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And Dune.
What's doing?
Dunes are like science fiction type thing, like high fantasy, but science fiction has always been the realm. Science fiction and comedy are like the two realms where what's going on in the real world can be dressed up as something else, so everyone can talk about it. You know.
That's like, and I talk about this with the whole COVID-19 things. There's certain things like, look what this hand's doing, look what this hand's doing, but you don't know what this hand's doing.
Yeah, of course, exactly. That's an old kind of joke about guns. Bill Hicks talking about America selling guns to Iran, and then like saying we're going to go and bomb Iran because they have guns. That sort of argument. Yeah, they play games with us for sure.
And I like that one that you said that, you know, there's this trick, isn't it? Look what this hand's doing, but you're not seeing what the other hand's. And that's what these books cover, is it?
They cover how society, how it's governed, and how like they things like newspeak, where they lessen the size of the dictionary basically to like a small number of words. And if you think about the way kids talk with emojis or text speech, where if you can't have complex words, then you can't form complex ideas. Yeah. So like it's a controlling the masses through lessening the amount of information that they're accessible to. And by overloading the masses with information, you limit the amount of information that they have access to.
Wow, I'm trying to get my head around that.
Okay, so have you ever been to anywhere in North America? Have you ever been to like Canada or anywhere like that? Okay, so you know when we walk into Dunn's and you say, oh, holy shit, I want to go over and get some rice. And you go over and there's 3 types of rice and you take the one of the rices that you want and you go off. When you go into Walmart, or when you go in, I'll make another analogy in a second, but when you go into Walmart, there are so many types of rice that you may spend a half an hour there standing in front of all these rices, and you may buy 6 rices that you don't even like and bring them home to and never use them. Yeah?
Right.
Another thing would be old television versus multi-channel television. How many times have you sat in front of your telly and went, next channel, next channel?
Do it all
next
the time.
channel,
Do it
next
Netflix.
Channel, next channel. Yes, well, this is the same analogy as the internet, of giving out all of this information. Oh, look, you have access to everything. Well, like Google only tells you the keywords that you're putting into it. It only like tells you simple things. It will give you like, oh, we have an algorithm to put this at the top. It's not giving you the information you really want unless you're smart enough to know how to navigate it.
Okay.
And now they're tracking everything you do on it. So like, for the first time ever, humans are both the product and the consumer. Yeah? And like, what happens to the snake that eats its tail? You know, like we're literally consuming ourselves. Isn't that crazy?
That's a deadly analogy. The snake that eats the tail.
Yeah, because that's what we're doing, man. It's not like the infinity snake. It isn't like that. It's the snake that eats itself to death. Because we are literally consuming ourselves. We're the product, and we're the consumer.
So how do we get out of that? What's the get out clause?
There is no get out clause. There's either you choose to live in the digital world, or you choose to live in the analog world, and that will be the choice people will have to make very soon. You know,
we had this conversation the other day. You said you don't live in the digital world. You were like,
yeah, like the digital
sometimes
world.
you do. Sometimes you don't.
It's inescapable, and unless you want to move like to the mountains and like become like man of the earth and catch all your own fish and build a log cabin and all that. If you want to like live in this society, they're getting rid of money. Cash is going to be a gone thing. Retail shops will mostly be a gone thing. So like you're not going to be able to go to your high street to buy your H&M stuff anymore. You'll buy it online off Jeff Bezos and it'll be delivered to your gaff by a drone. You know? So like when this opens back up, how many of shops, how many are going to open? How many businesses are going to be able to open back up again and keep the amount of employees that they had before this?
The world has changed, hasn't it?
So where are we all going to work? Amazon. They're all going to work on Amazon.
Yeah,
There'll be a lot of Amazon workers.
Wow, it's yeah. I try not to think that too far ahead. It's
not that far. It's next year, bro.
Yeah,
it's not that far ahead.
Let's just think. You done a couple of stint in prison. How long did you do? Or what was your?
I didn't do mad. amount of time in
Big
prison, you know.
stretches. You've done a little bit.
Done a little bit. I've done
Yeah.
a little bit. Like I done like a 2-year sentence and then like a lot of like custody and then like into like child institutions or like youth institutions. Well, like not that much.
Did you spend your time reading in there? You seem to
Yeah, I've
do,
done a lot of reading in prison. Yeah, I've done like most of my reading in prison probably. You know.
do any writing yourself? Did you write any stuff? Did you do
Yeah, I
poetry?
used to love writing poems and like writing short stories.
Did you ever
and,
keep them, or do you still have them?
Unfortunately, the thing about prison is you seem to lose everything. Yeah, like I painted a little bit in prison as well when I was in prison, but you never. You
Yeah.
just fuck that shit out, bro. You know. You're out there and you're not thinking, oh, I should keep that.
Yeah.
Amazing poems.
I'm sure you'd like to have still had them because they're piece of memory, aren't they?
I don't
No?
fuck with regret or shame or any of those. I think they're useless, so I don't fuck with them, bro. They don't have any benefit for me. You know? So like
I was thinking about this last week. Definitely don't do shame. I've owned me shame. I own me story. I own me insecurities. I own guilt, fear, all that kind of stuff. Regrets, I probably do look back and go, I regret doing that, but I learned from it. Like I look back and go, I probably should have done better. I wish I had it, but I don't go on really. Like I don't give myself a hard time about it.
I just completely know that it's in the past and there's absolutely nothing I can do to change that. Nothing. And like going looking like, oh, I did this to you years ago, like, you know, like please like forgive me. Like that's the most selfish thing in the world. The most selfish thing in the world. That person wants to forgive you on them. You wrong them, you know, like I am like, to make me feel better, can you like tell me that like we're okay now? Do you get me? Like it's like what the fuck, man? Just like something like I fucked up. You know, I try to learn from that.
Yeah,
you know?
that's a great show. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but look, let's touch on that actually. You know, when you ask somebody for forgiveness,
Yeah, it's very
it's to make you feel better.
Very selfish thing, bro.
Because I'm going through a bit of a thing at the moment. I fell out with this person years ago.
Yeah.
And me and you talked earlier about your intention. So I was sitting out there one day, and lots of times I think about it. I have dreams about this person.
Yeah.
And I go, I'd like to get back and make amends. And I kept saying to myself, why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to make amends?
Yeah.
And I think it's probably what you touched on there. I want him to tell me that it's all okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I forgive myself for the wrongdoing that I did in that part.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
I want him to tell me
Like
that's
all
okay.
all you owe to that person is like, yo, I'm sorry, and then that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
They don't owe you jack shit. But
No,
like, you
but
need to unload that from you onto them.
I think
You probably owe them that. Like if you convince yourself that like you've wronged the person.
yeah.
You know. Do you
But
get
it's
me?
interesting that you say that because I asked myself, because I'm all about being honest, brutally honest with myself.
Yeah.
What's your intentions for this? And
Yeah.
I think it was a bit of that I want to be
Yeah.
told it's all okay.
Yeah.
To be
Like,
suited.
yeah, to be suited a little bit, yeah. And it's very, like, it's weird, you know, like, humans are so crazy, bro. Like, we don't have the answer. We're like sway, every one of us, man, you know what I mean? We don't have the fucking answers, man.
What's like sway? What do you mean? What's that?
That's just the old from Kanye West slagging Sway in the morning saying, we don't have the answers, Sway. So, like, whenever I think, it's like, yeah, Kanye, I don't have the answers.
What's going on for you at the moment? What are you doing? What's the work you're up to? What's
like everybody
what's
else,
your life?
like everybody else.
Okay, without the COVID-19, what's on the agenda for you? Painting,
Hopefully,
murals.
yeah, hopefully some more murals and hopefully some more canvases. Just get some canvases out there. That would be a good buzz. And then just keep training away as much as I can.
How often do you train when you're training? Like outside this COVID-19 business?
I would say pretty regularly.
You're not committing to that.
I'm not committed to that.
That must mean you need to do more.
I always need to do more.
Get your old ass up to the gym.
Yeah.
There's somebody actually going to be watching this going, that fucker needs to train more.
Yeah, definitely. There's going to be loads saying that. Loads. Anyone who says who knows me trying is going to say, oh, come on, Jesus, boom.
if people want to touch base, I'm going to put your links up to your work. If people want to find you or want to...
There is no links up to my work. I don't put my work online.
You don't have any work?
I make art.
Are you like
art's
Banksy?
sake. I wouldn't say I'm like Banksy, but I don't, the work is the work. There are certain other things that
Why
can't
do
be
you do
spoken
that?
about now that
Oh,
is a different, it's like a Batman thing, you know?
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But I can't speak about those things.
No?
No,
When the camera's off, will you tell me?
probably.
Look, I always finish the interview with what's the one thing you'd like people to take away from this interview? So, what is that?
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. If you believe in yourself, you can do anything.
But what do people do if they can't?
Convince yourself you can. Because I didn't. You know? Sometimes you have to tell yourself a little white lie. You know?
Yeah, a bit of delusion.
Yeah, that's what it is. Fake it till you make it.
I don't know about that. Like,
Well, I did it for getting my fucking shit together, bro, so it's all right.
Because
Because I only believed it recently.
the inner belief in you.
You know? There's a drive to do something and then there's believing it.
Yeah.
Do you get me? So like the drive is the faking it. Because you haven't made it until you've actually done it, bro. So like we're all faking it. Every day we're faking it. You know? Like I wake up in the morning sometimes, I haven't got a clue what's going on. I just realised that like I'm on a rock that's falling into a fire that's spinning around a big huge thing called a black hole. It's like what? What? What the fuck am I meant to do about that?
Yeah, do you know what I meant to ask you actually? I seen you last week or a couple of weeks ago there, and you were on an iPad and you were doing something with what was the app, or what were you doing? What were you painting or drawing on an iPad or something? What was that?
It's just like a regular. I don't even like giving these cunts any credit.
Oh right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not like for corporations. Like I was on some form of tablet.
Okay.
Yeah, I could be on any brand of tablet.
Well, you can tell me.
You know what I mean?
Right. There's
Yeah.
lots. I think we're gonna have an interview after the interview.
It's just a process that I use to help me make my work.
Yeah.
That's all that you can't be doing that time, you know.
Deadly.
Yeah, it's not secret, right? You know. It's just I don't.
I feel like you're not telling me something.
No, I will. I just don't like giving like brands. Like when you
Yeah.
said like them other cunts, I wouldn't be like pushing for any of them, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, don't give them any credit.
So we'll end on the believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do is believe in yourself. No one else is going to.
Yeah.
You know?
It's-
And like even if other people do and you don't, their belief is nothing. It's empty.
In comparison then to years ago to now, percentage wise, how much percentage do you believe yourself in comparison to what you used to be? Say, would that be 20 then and maybe 90 now?
It would have been like enough to survive then.
Okay, on
Yeah.
the order. Yeah.
Enough to survive then. Like a fucking rat believes in itself. Or a cockroach or something that's just like not willing to give up. Yeah. But still like trying to slither on somehow, yeah. And now I believe in myself about 95%.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because nothing's 100%, is it? So
Oh,
You
that's
know?
deadly. That's savage, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm the same. I used to be really like, I used to talk, oh yeah, I fancy me chance, blah blah. But inside, I could be blown over really easy.
yeah.
Now I'm pretty.
Well, now I know I don't fancy my chances. Whereas before, I used to think I fancied my chances, you know, because the little chimpanzee was running the show back then, you know.
The monkey mind.
Yeah, but now he's running around eating his bananas. He's fucking delighted with himself in there, you know what I mean? It's like, yep, you need him every now and again, you know.
Yeah.
The ego is good for you, you know. You can't destroy your ego. It's a very dangerous thing to do with that, you know.
You're in the ego when you're trying to destroy the ego.
Yeah, like what part of your ego is making you want to destroy the other part of your ego, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like who's driving the bus? Because I know there's about 95 cunts in my head that want to start the steering wheel, yeah? You know? And a lot of them are destructive, they ain't good guys, you know? And they've driven the bus for a while. You know, now it's my turn.
Deadly.
You know? Goose is behind the wheel now, yeah?
Deguze. I love the name, and I love the fact that you told me earlier the Deguze there, because I could really recognise and I could see it. You know, as I said to you earlier, I liked you years ago. I obviously didn't know you as deep as what was going on for you, but I liked you. You're always a sound fucker. But I could resonate with you when you said that to me, that it's dead, because I feel like the life that I used to live, all the debauchery, all the badness I done, all the.
Oh no, I'm still down for a bit of debauchery.
Well,
You know?
there's levels of it. The levels I did, I wouldn't be going anywhere near it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to recognise, you know what, that part is gone.
Yeah. No, see, for me, I'm not afraid of that anymore.
Yeah.
You get me? So, like, if I want to go out and party, I'll go out and party. And so I'm going to a party. That's it. It's got no power over me anymore because I'm not, like, using that as a form of self-destruction or...
Right.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm going to go out and have a good time with, like, my friends. Because I didn't even believe in friendship. I didn't believe friendship was possible. I had this, like, weird... You've got acquaintances and sometimes you help each other out and then sometimes you're, like, are antagonists.
Mm.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
And that's the way, like, I've seen things, you know?
Yeah.
What life had taught me.
Yeah.
Really, you know.
And that's funny you say that, because I have friends, these mates that are hung around all my life, and I still have them, but no one came in outside that. I just didn't bring anyone in. I didn't trust them. I used to be with people, partying, taking drugs together, but they wouldn't be close.
Yeah.
now I can form bonds and relationship and trust people
Yeah.
outside those little circles
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know, I can see people for what they are. I can feel it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's-
I trust myself better, like, and I go
That's
with
a
my,
great point.
I go with my gut, like, I believe in my gut a lot, and I used to deny my gut for a long part of my time, like my life, you know. But your gut, it tells you things, you should listen to it, you know, for sure. For sure, it's got this instinct.
Well, it's our second brain.
Yeah.
How do you say?
Well, maybe it's our first brain. You know, I think you maybe had a stomach before you had a brain. If you think about it in evolutionary terms.
Yeah.
You know?
That's mad.
We started digesting stuff probably before the brain developed.
There you go. There's
You know?
a bit of physiology for you. How'd you make that, man?
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Deguze, you're an absolute legend, bro. I think it's fucking deadly to have you on.
doing
Thanks
good
for coming
fair
on.
play, Jeff. Fair play, bro. Good.
I'm absolutely delighted to have you on. Guys, thanks very much. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. It was a great old chat. As always, thanks to Niall Riley from Rooney Media, Andy from libertiesphotos.ie, Shannon's Hope Line, Mental Health Warriors, who else, Liberty Soup Run, and you for listening to the show and watching the show. Thanks very much for your support. Please share this with family and friends. Give us lots of likes. Subscribe on iTunes and all the other platforms we are. And we're on YouTube. I'm a YouTuber as well, by the way.
Yup the flats.
Yup the flats. I love the flats. Thanks very much. Take care. Deadly.
Good, bro.